Hi, welcome to the Douglas on My Mind show. I'm Blondell Thomas, the City of Douglas Public Information Manager, and today we will have a lot of interesting things to talk about, some things coming up in September, and so we look forward to you joining us in just a few moments. Welcome back to the Douglas on My Mind show, and today we have Mr. Charlie Davis, our new city manager. Thank you, Charlie, for being here.
Yeah, glad to be here, Blondell.
All right. We're going to talk to Charlie a little bit today about what his position as city manager is, you know, what he's looking forward to working on in the future, and just some of his plans as far as a city manager goes, what all he's going to be doing. So, Charlie, thank you for being here. Tell us, how's it feel to be the new city manager?
It's a transition like anything. There's new things to learn with your new job. I know I've had some people ask, who are you, where are you from, or whatever, and just to bring everybody up to date, I've been around for about 17 years here at the City of Douglas. I'm a lifelong resident of Douglas and Coffee County. Born and raised there in the big community of West Green, Georgia.
Oh, yeah.
So hometown boy. Graduated in 1986 from Coffee High School. Graduated in 1990 from Mercer University. Went off there in 1990 to the Army and done my officer basic course when I spent 9 years in the Army Reserve. Spent 10 years with Advanced Auto Parts as a district manager, and then in 2001 came to work with the City of Douglas. I've had several different roles. There I was hired primarily for the customer service director position, dealing with utilities. I think in 2006 they gave me the additional role or duty as also as assistant city manager. 2012, I believe, I moved into the finance department as the finance director.
Some more additional duties there.
Yes, yep. and then recently, back in July last month, was made city manager. As everybody knows, Terrell Jacobs had been the city manager for the past 11 years. He accepted a role with Georgia Municipal Association, which is our cities. All the cities in the state of Georgia come together and form an association. It's called the Georgia Municipal Association, where they offer a full range of services. And in his particular role, he's going to be as an outside field consultant for the cities. And that's where he's working at now,
Yep. Well, for those people who do not know what a city manager is, tell us a little bit as far as what some of your job duties are, or what are some of the things that you do day to day.
I kind of equate it to the hub of a wagon wheel.
Yeah.
It's the center point where kind of everything comes together. You're the liaison between the mayor and commission and staff. You're the liaison between the public and staff and for the elected. You take the visions of the mayor and commission and you put it into a budget, into a philosophy that staff can help understand. You take what you hear on the streets or other associations or other group meetings or whatever, and you see where we can, within our reason, within our skills, be able to implement that in our organization and help facilitate things.
Right.
And so it's kind of the center of the hub, in my opinion.
Right. Over 200 employees with the City of Douglas that you kind of have to, look after and make sure they're doing what they're supposed to be doing.
Yeah, especially
as much as you can.
Well, especially with us too, we're a full service city.
Correct.
Like a lot of towns just have a few services they offer. We do electric, gas, water, sewer, trash. In the general fund area, we do police and fire and recreation, community development, and then we have support divisions like your HR and your finance, and so there's a lot on that buffet meal up there to choose from.
Right. So what are some goals that you actually want to look at, or you think that you may set as city manager for the upcoming years?
Well, it's like any planning. There's short-term, mid-term, long-term goals. The short-term, obviously, is a stable transition. Besides my position as city manager changing, we've had several department heads and other key staff members that have either retired or moved on to other things. And so anytime when you have change, it always interjects recovery time. Some information gets passed on, some information gets lost or whatever, so you got to recover. So the first thing is have a stable transition of city management and also those department directors. One of the other things, a lot of times I call it buying cows. We like to buy the cows, but sometimes we forget that we got to go back and feed the cows that we already have. So one of the primary focuses is maintain what we're doing and improve on what we're doing. And one of the other things there is what I'm calling fix up and clean up. Go back through what we already own, what we already have, and let's fix it and clean it up before we move on to a new project. And some other key areas that we're looking at is workforce development. I know that's a big buzzword, externally with companies wanting staffing, but just inside of our own organization, building our current workforce. In some areas is develop a successive planning. There's a lot of us that are, not that I'm getting old, but I'm already wanting to start planning for my future retirement. I know there's a lot of other department heads that are and other long-term employees may not be a department head that are talking about retiring at some point in the future. We've got to have people ready to take those positions. And it's always a debate, can you fill from within? If you can't fill from within, you have to go external. So trying to grow that talent within our workforce.
Getting us employees basically some on-the-job training and things like that.
Right, and identifying those future leaders, because you can tell there's people who take a self-initiative or those people who are wanting to better themselves, plug into that and grow them.
Right.
So that way they can be sitting here in our two chairs doing what we're doing today.
Hopefully one day.
One of the things too, as most governments are facing, and even at your personal lives and stuff, the dollar only goes so far.
That's right.
And we've got to stretch our dollars. Most people are not crazy about talking about tax increases or rate increases on this. So you have to make do with what you have and become very efficient with that. And some of that is growing your workforce, training your workforce, using technology to streamline and become more productive, and at the end of the day, do more with less.
Right.
And so that's one of the things. One of the other areas that we really need to look at, and you'll see initiatives coming forward, is dealing with our tax base, and that's not raising taxes. That is, every city, every community goes through property value changes.
Right.
And there are some areas in our town that we need to take a look at, whether it's dilapidated housing, overgrown lots, junk cars. We will be doing an initiative, so I'd like for everybody, those that hear this, to spread it that we're coming.
Yes.
We've heard a lot of people, crying about, hey, do something about some junk cars, or do something about dilapidated housing, and so that's coming. So you'll be seeing code enforcement efforts ramp up in those areas.
And there is a protocol that you have to go through too. You can't just go onto somebody's property and say, we're going to tear down your building or whatever.
Right, whatever the subject matter is.
Right.
There are rules and regulations. Some of them are local ordinances. Some of them are state laws.
Right.
And there is a process. Some of them are forever.
Right.
Some are quick turnaround on those items. And so we'll be looking at that. Another area that we got to look at, and if you listen to the news or read a newspaper, is security when it comes to cyber security.
Oh, yes.
The city of Atlanta was hit here recently. Hinesville was hit. The city of Savannah was hit. And so now we run a pretty tight security protocols here, but we're going to be increasing those protocols because in today's society, big and large and small organizations are targets of cybersecurity, and all it takes is one email, one wrong website, one little crack, and then your system is held hostage by what they call ransomware. And so we're going to be focusing on that in the IT arena. GIS, mapping, Like a lot of organizations, we have multiple GIS areas, and they're not coordinated, so we're going to be bringing those under coordination so that at a point in the future, citizens will be able to go to our GIS website and click on crime analysis or utility easements or lines, zoning, mapping, and all those things or whatever. So that's coming, and just training in all areas when it comes to employees, when it comes to technology, because in some areas technology is outpacing some of our workers, and so we can't let technology go. So we're going to have to start some kind of training program that we're working on for employees.
Yeah, technology is definitely leading into the future, and it's going to be here whether you want it to be or not.
Oh, I can already see my 7-year-old in some cases is smarter than me. He'll get on my cell phone and he'll change settings and stuff or whatever, and so anyway.
Well, tell us about some of the construction projects that you are now having to oversee or that's coming up in the horizon.
We call all these building projects, we've kind of put them under the umbrella of what we called CMAR, and I won't go into detail on explaining what CMAR is, but we do have many building projects. It's probably some of the biggest building projects that we've had in the history of Douglas, maybe ever. If not ever, it's in the top.
It's close.
it's in the top 1 or 2 in all times. And no priority here, but just to name them off, we will be redoing moving all of our utilities to a location that right now we call the Davis property. It's no relations to me, but the people that we bought it from. The electric, gas, water, public works, and purchasing will be at that facility. We will be doing a recreation field there at the Jardine Stadium area, municipal complex, that has football fields, baseball, softball fields, some soccer fields. And later on in another phase, some walking trails and stuff out there. The other areas is the Miracle Field that Mr. Roper was very passionate about, former Commissioner Mr. Roper. The Miracle Field's coming. We're redoing the pool and the building, the pool house there. City Hall will be renovated and a little bit of an extension there. And then to tie it all together, we're finishing out the rails for trail that will carry it all the way to the high school. And all that will happen over the next 12 to 18 months.
Right, yeah, there are a lot of projects coming up. Well, just really quick, are there any other initiatives that you'd like to share with everyone?
Well, kind of touching back on IT and utilities that we offer, one of the things as we move forward, we call the smart grid.
Right.
We are changing the way we read meters. Eventually, meter readers will basically go back to fix problems if they find problems with meters. But we will be reading most of our meters electronically through the air, without the trucks riding around and collecting stuff. Remote disconnects, and the smart grid piece is the utilities. The meters will be able to monitor daily. Actually, we're taking readings by the hour, and so the system will be able to notice upticks in electric and gas and water consumption. It will be able to send you alerts that hey, something may be going on at your properties. Because currently, like most utilities, you get a reading every 30 days, then you get a bill 2 weeks later, and then if you have a problem you didn't know about, you get a surprise. And so this way, and you can go to City Hall and sign up for what they call Utility Hawk. It generates you an estimated bill daily, so you can kind of see where you're going with your estimated bill, and at the same time you can see your live consumption. And then one of the other things is we're moving into also the prepaid utility services, where basically you load your meter with credits, and then when it runs out, it sends you a notification. If you don't go back and pay it, it automatically disconnects you. And a lot of utilities have found that a lot of customers like that prepaid. And so anyway, so that's here now, and we're getting ready to launch the prepaid portion in about the next 2 to 3 weeks. And so stay tuned to this channel and commission meetings and flyers and stuff that when we send that information out. And the other thing that will affect the community as a whole, and we'll be asking for help, whether it's workers or monies or whatever it may be, we're looking at doing a better job of a method of dealing with people who are less fortunate. We're going to be putting together some resources and information and inventory of what the community does when we have homeless to deal with, battered women, children situation, whatever the situations are that you can kind of think of. and there's a lot of need out there.
There is.
There's a lot of jurisdictional issues when it comes to state, local, federal governments. There's an area for ministerial association and churches to fill. So we're working on a program for putting that together, and so stay tuned for that.
Yeah, a lot of good initiatives. So it sounds like you've got your work cut out for you.
Yes, ma'am.
Or at least the department heads do too, or all of us employees.
They say it rolls downhill,
Yeah,
so we'll see what
it's
happens.
definitely
So,
gonna go there,
yes, ma'am.
isn't it? Well, Charlie, thank you for being here. We'll probably have to get you back on in a couple of months and see how all these projects are rolling along.
Thank you for having me, Blondell.
We'll be right back after this.
Don't miss the South Georgia Barbecue and Outdoor Festival in Douglas, September 7th and 8th. Douglas Barbecue Competition with $20,000 in cash and prize giveaways. There will be plenty of general and food vendors, arts and crafts, hunting and fishing vendors, and a kids area. Dice Run Motorcycle Show with a finale 50-50 draw and car show. Free Friday night concert with headliner Cason Lane. Aviation events, snake and wildlife encounters, and more. This show is brought to you by these great partners. We hope to see you there.
Hi, and welcome back to the Douglas On My Mind show. I'm Blondell Thomas, the City of Douglas Public Information Manager, and I am here right now with one of my favorite groups, absolutely favorite groups, the Childhood Cancer Awareness Group of Coffee County's president, Miss Barbara Dockery. Barbara, thank you for being here.
Thank you for letting me come talk about our events.
Yes. Now tell us, what is actually the purpose of the Childhood Cancer Awareness Group?
The Childhood Cancer Awareness Group was organized in 2011 by a group of family members and friends of childhood cancer families who had a child been diagnosed with childhood cancer. Yes. And our main purpose is to provide financial, spiritual, and emotional support for those families. We do quite a number of things to assist them. So many times in the larger metropolitan areas of the state, you have support groups of different kinds. Right. But we found when we had our first grandchild was diagnosed in 2001 that there were no local support groups of any type. So it just became a need that we could look to get organized and have a good purpose and a good background from having walked that walk to know what these folks were going through.
Right, right. And yes, heaven forbid any child is diagnosed with cancer, y'all are definitely a support group. I can speak firsthand, most definitely. What type of services, you mentioned, that y'all help families and people or children that's going through cancer. What type of services do y'all offer?
Well, first of all, once we get a diagnosis from that child's doctor, we can provide travel expense back and forth to doctors and hospital appointments that would involve helping them with gas, with lodging and meals to attend appointments. But we also go further than that. We have a board of directors consisting of 7 people from our community who we submit applications from families for support in the form of that family may need household bills paid, such as a light bill, a mortgage, a car payment, insurance. Those families complete an application, attach those bills to it, and we submit it to our board of directors for a vote. And once those directors have voted, if they approve, then we pay those bills on behalf of the family.
Right, right. It takes a little bit of that financial burden.
Yes.
And then also you said, y'all offer the emotional support that
Yes.
many families need because, when you get that diagnosis, it's almost like a shock.
It is.
I mean,
It is.
puts you through something. So how many families do y'all currently help?
Right now we have about 12. As most people know, recently, within the last 3 months, we've had 3 children diagnosed.
Yes.
We have 2 little girls who are less than a year old that were diagnosed, and we have an 18-year-old locally that was diagnosed. And so we're able to assist them from the outset. What happens is once we get that diagnosis, we immediately go to work and we make a basket for that family, introducing them to our group and what we
Right.
do. And in that basket, we give them a Walmart gift card to use for immediate needs for the family. We give them pieces of clothing, blankets, craft items, toys that the kids might like, just things specific for that family.
Right.
And from there on, we began to help them as it's needed, whether it be with travel or with household bills. Or
Right.
sometimes it's just being able to talk to another family or mother or daddy that has had a child with childhood cancer and answer some of those questions they might have.
Yes, some of those hard questions.
Yes.
Well, coming up in September, it is, I think, is it National Childhood
It's Childhood Cancer Awareness Month in September.
And y'all offer a lot of different events that
We do.
people can help donate to the group. Tell us a little bit about some of them that y'all have coming up.
Traditionally, and this will be our 8th year having these events, we start off around the last of August. We start selling T-shirts and wristbands, and from there we have the Beta Sigma Phi conducts a mum sale on behalf of our group, and all of the funds go to Childhood Cancer Awareness, where they sell mums in the community, and it's $10 for a small mum, $20 for a large mum, and they're beautiful, by the way, always are. And then traditionally at the homecoming football game, Coffee High's homecoming football game, we have a cupcake sale where we sell cupcakes at the concession stands. That's always a big hit.
Oh, and it's very good.
We have a childhood cancer awareness night where we do a little program at the beginning. I think we'll be doing it at the beginning of the game that night.
Right.
And then the next night on Saturday, September 22nd, Mr. Danny Dawson, who is a local celebrity, Danny does country music, and if you're a fan of George Jones type music,
Right.
he's great.
He is.
He has donated
Very talented.
He's very talented. He has donated his time, and his band has donated their time. On Saturday night, September 22nd at 7:30 at the Martin Theater, they'll be putting on a show for us, and tickets are $15, and you can get those from any childhood cancer member.
Okay.
Also, they're on sale at South Georgia Business Products and at Ultimate Graphics here in Douglas.
Okay.
Then our big event is we try to do our fundraising just in September, so we're not in everybody's face every time you open the door, so to speak. We do our silent auction and bake sale on Friday, September 28th, from 9 until 6 at the Bryan Street Gym. And that we have all kinds of home-baked items, cakes, cookies, candies, you name it, we've got it. The best cooks in Coffee County and surrounding.
Yes.
Those items, you can just come in, pick out your selection, pay for it, and take it home right then. And also we have the silent auction, which has a variety of items, anything from get a haircut appointment to an oil change to a vacation to the mountains, home crafts and things that people make and draw, some local art, you name it, we have it.
And you've even had like some local musician and artists, worldwide, that have donated items
Yes,
also.
we
to
have.
that.
Jennifer Nettles donated last year. She donated 2 of her tickets to her Christmas concert in Atlanta. So, but
There's a lot of good items.
yes,
I can
a
speak,
wide
yes.
variety of items, very wide. You won't believe.
Men, women, children.
We had we usually have over 700 items. But that's done from 9 to 6 on Friday, September 28th. Then on Saturday night, that following night, on Saturday, September 29th at 6 o'clock, the American Legion Post 515 caters a dinner for our groups attendees, and you can buy a ticket for that for the Bryan Street Gym. And we have a wonderful dinner last year, and their food is always just
always
fabulous.
Yes.
You can buy tickets for that. They're $10 if you want to come eat with us at 6 o'clock, and then at 7 we start the live auction. And we have a lot of nice items that are always on the live auction, and we have anything from cargo trailers to
It's usually really big items.
mostly big items. Some really collector's items. You name it, we have it, and we try to do a variety in the live auction too.
Yeah.
So we'd
It's
like for
really
everybody
good
to come
event.
out and join us for any or all of these events.
Definitely. Now, if someone just wants to attend the auction, is there a charge for them to
No.
come in? Just only
No.
if they eat?
Only if you eat.
Okay.
You're welcome to come to the live auction and the silent auction. There's no attendance charge.
Okay.
So if you like to just come out and browse and look and see what we have, you'd be quite surprised.
Oh yeah, I've been shocked over the years. There's a lot. Now, if someone wants to get involved with your group, with the Childhood Cancer Awareness Group of Coffee County, how do they do that?
We have an application form that normally, if it's a new member, we don't meet a lot during the year. We mostly meet during July, August, and September. We occasionally meet every 3 or 4 months the rest of the year. But you can come to a meeting, fill out our application form, and we've never denied any membership. So we'd love to have you. We have a great group of people, some of the best you want to meet. They have a passion for helping families of childhood cancer, and I don't know of a harder working group around than these folks.
Right.
Just a fantastic, energetic group.
They are. So if they want to get a form to fill out or application to fill out, do they just contact you?
They can,
Okay.
any member of childhood
member?
cancer,
Okay.
right.
All right.
And sometimes people, at this time of year, we have a lot of volunteers coming in and helping. They might not necessarily want to get involved with the group, but they want to donate their time to help us in September. So we have a lot of people that just come and say, hey, I want to help you with your silent or live auction or
Right.
things leading up to that. So just get in touch with one of us, and we've always got enough work to go around.
Oh yeah, yes, definitely. Well, Barbara, we appreciate you being here today, and I'm so happy that y'all do this every year. I know it helps out a lot of families, mine included. So we really appreciate y'all.
Well, we appreciate the community because without this community who has taken on our passion as their cause, we couldn't do what we do.
That's right, that's right. Well, thank you again for being here, and we'll definitely be talking to you later on, probably again next year in September, if not before then.
Right.
All right.
Thank you.
We'll be right back after this.
Don't miss the South Georgia Barbecue and Outdoor Festival in Douglas, September 7th and 8th. Douglas Barbecue Competition with $20,000 in cash and prize giveaways. There will be plenty of general and food vendors, arts and crafts, hunting and fishing vendors, and a kids area. Dice Run Motorcycle Show with a finale 50-50 draw and car show. Free Friday night concert with headliner Cason Lane. Aviation events, snake and wildlife encounters, and more. This show is brought to you by these great partners. We hope to see you there.
Hi, and welcome back to the Douglas On My Mind show. I'm here now with Miss Patty Parker, and we are going to talk a little bit about a upcoming festival that we've been having now for the last, goodness, I think it's almost 8 years.
Yeah, the outdoor portion.
The outdoor
Yes,
portion,
yes.
yes. We have the South Georgia Barbecue and Outdoor Festival coming up in September, on September 7th and September the 8th.
Yes, we do.
And we are going to tell y'all about all the fun and exciting things that everybody can come out to the Douglas Municipal Airport and experience this year. The event will not be located downtown.
Nope.
It will be at the airport this year, so we want to make sure that everybody knows that. So, Patty, tell us a little bit about what's going to start off on Friday. What can people look for on Friday?
Well, on Friday, beginning at 1 p.m., the airport will open, and that, as Blondell stated, that is the airport. That is the Douglas Municipal Gene Chambers Airport that is located on 441 the entrance, I guess, depending on which way you're coming, the entrance could be southbound or northbound.
That's right.
But anyway, it'll begin at 1 p.m. that Friday afternoon. What they can anticipate when they come in then is they can see the vendors. The vendors will be set up. Of course, there'll be different activities going on throughout the day with goodness, I can't even think of everything that's going to be happening. The shows here,
Right.
I'm sorry, I don't know them offhand, but you can look forward to different shows.
There is going to be a wildlife show
thank
that
you.
afternoon at 4 o'clock. Local person Tyler Lott, he has his own wildlife encounter show.
So he'll be there.
We'll be experiencing that, and then we'll also have all the vendors that'll be open.
Yeah, and I think I counted this morning, unless I'm off here, we've already got over 30 vendors registered for the event. So that's a good thing, and we're 3 weeks out. And another part of it that a lot of people will be able to see, it'll be kind of building in action, will be a good way to put it.
Right.
But later on that night, you'll start smelling it, of course, and that is the barbecue teams.
Right.
They'll be coming in as well and setting up, and I counted those this morning, and as of right now, we have a little over 30 barbecue teams that are registered. So that's really good.
It's looking like it's going to be the biggest barbecue cook-off that we've
Absolutely.
had in the last few years. Now, one really big thing that I really want everyone to come out and enjoy is the Case and Lane concert.
Yes.
It will start on Friday night at 6 o'clock with none other than Matt Baldridge. He will be live
Matt, our local,
with Real Radio.
our local radio hero. They will be there, and we just want to give a real quick shout out to John Higgs and
yeah.
Broadcast South for that. Because they're going to let Matt come out, and I think on Saturday we're going to have Matt will be back with us, and I think Paul's going to be with us on Saturday. So, I mean, thanks, John. We
Yes.
do appreciate you by all means with that.
And if people don't realize who Broadcast South is, it's our local radio stations, 106.7 The Buck,
93.5
The Vibe, and then 101.9, which is now known as The Rocket.
That's
so
right,
Those are,
yes.
those are the radio stations that will be present.
And like Blondell said, Case and Lane will be there. Just another quick thing so that everybody will be, understand this. I know in the past there has been other concerts at this event, and there has been a charge to see those concerts. However, this year, if you want to see Case and Lane, there is no charge. This is
It is
free event.
Yes.
So we encourage you, if you've never heard Case and Lane, you definitely want to come out and hear them. Bring your boogie shoes with you because they're a good group to dance to. I can promise you that.
Yeah, when I talked to Jad Deal and them whenever we were getting ready to work out the specifics on entertainment, those guys are just basically, coming out and wanting Douglas to support them.
Right.
They're looking for the local people. They love us. Still.
Right. I mean, and this is an opportunity too, like I said, with Case and Lane. I mean, these guys have been in and out of the recording studios trying to get their own music and their own CDs launched, and they're very, very close.
Oh, yeah.
And this is an opportunity for you to have that moment of saying, I remember these guys right before they made it big.
Right.
So, I mean, definitely, I mean, and it's, I'm hoping and I'm thinking it's probably going to be a kid-friendly show there, the concert. So by all means, when you get off work, get dressed, grab the kids, come out to the airport. Another thing we'll be doing,
The concert will actually start with Case and Lane at 7.
Right.
But like I said, prior to it, Matt will be there, and Broadcast South is also giving away Wild Adventures tickets. So that's something that people can look for. Some other things that'll be taking place on Friday is some of the aviation events.
Right, and the aviation events, that's going to be new to us this year.
Yes.
So we're going to have, like you'll have the aircraft display will be there that you'll be able to come out and see, and that'll all start that afternoon at 1 o'clock. Then we're also, it's going to be featuring, I'm sorry here, trying the XP-82 Twin Mustang. I think that is a plane that was a prototype, whatever, was it used at World War II? Is that the type, or is it some other type
one
of?
interesting thing about this one, there are only 2 airplanes that are in civilian hands, and one of them is going to be here. Our local guy, Tom Riley, has restored this plane, and it is awesome.
It is a very nice plane. We have seen that firsthand in the hangar, so it's unbelievable. So if you haven't had the opportunity to see that, you need to see that. A lot of the aviation activities will carry on into Saturday as well. a lot of other events, but on that Friday night, so people will know this, we're going to actually host there at the event. There will be the Coffee County Bike Night, so there will be a bike night that's going to be hosted there. That'll begin at around 7 o'clock. Yay, the motorcycles. They're doing a few things different this year than they've done in the past. But there for the motorcyclists, if you're interested in participating in the dice run that will be the next day, or the motorcycle games, or the bike show itself, you can go ahead and pre-register on that Friday night, and you can begin the pre-registration. We'll start pre-registration at around 4 o'clock that afternoon, and we'll do pre-registration up until around 7 or 7:30.
Right.
And we do encourage anybody that's with the motorcycles, to come on out and go ahead and pre-register. It will just save you some time on that Saturday morning when you get there for the lineup.
Oh, yeah. Now, Saturday is the big day as always.
Saturday it's just going to explode.
Yes, starting at 9 a.m. we will allow folks start coming in
Yes.
at 9 a.m.
There again at 9 a.m. and to clarify this, just so everybody will know, we know a few years ago at the airport there was an admission to come into the event. Please, with everything we're talking about as far as coming through the gates there to actually walk around and look at the exhibits and see the entertainment, to listen to the concert, that portion of it is free. There is no admission to the general public to come into the event.
Right.
But on Saturday, you'll have the opportunity to see the vendors again, visit with them. Naturally, we're going to have our food vendors will be present. We'll have arts and craft vendors that will be present. Your jewelry vendors, your apparel vendors, kids play area. The motorcycle events will get kicked off that morning, as well as a car show on that day.
Right.
Aviation events will go on. I think there's going to be the helicopter, the Huey rides will be available to the public.
Yes, the Huey helicopters will be there, and if anybody does not know what a Huey helicopter is, it is your Vietnam War era helicopter, and he will be offering flights for $60 a person. There is a charge for that, but it's $60 per person. But I mean, really, it's not a lot, and it's going to a nonprofit organization.
And when you take fuel cost into consideration when it comes to a helicopter or an airplane of any type, that's a lot different of a cost than putting gasoline into your car.
Right.
I mean, you're looking at almost a triple, quadruple charge per gallon versus what we pay. So there's a little bit of overhead there, but it's going to be fun because that's a new portion this year with the aviation.
And how many people get to experience that? I know the Vietnam War veterans, some of them, like my daddy, may not even want to get on that helicopter, and I understand that, but I told him, just for me to kind of experience that, I'll probably jump on there and go for a little ride.
Right. And one thing too, to kind of go back to the motorcycle events, this is the day on Saturday for the motorcyclists that they will have the dice run that morning. Now the dice run will leave out promptly at 9 a.m. But as soon as the dice run leaves out, Larry Neesmith is overseeing our car show this year. Not our car show.
The Battle of the Bikes
our motorcycles.
Show.
Forgive me. The Battle of the Bikes motorcycle show. He has worked very hard with this show.
Yes.
I think we're up right now to maybe... we've got like 6 or 7 categories this year because he added a couple of more categories last week. You get in contact with us about that and we can give you all the categories, but we've got everything with that one from most distance traveled to the MC that has the most people, there on the premises, from the ugliest motorcycle to the coolest motorcycle or something of there. I mean, we've got, and you're going to get a trophy for, if you place in this category.
Right.
So the bike show will begin setting up for that at 9 a.m. and then the judging for that will begin at around 12:30. Motorcycle games will take place at around 1:30, 2 o'clock. So there's a lot going on there. The car show, they're going to start their registration at around 8 a.m. that morning. I believe that is correct.
They normally come in about 9 a.m.
Okay, about 9 a.m. Now there is a fee to register your car in the car show.
And there is a fee with the motorcycle show.
There is a fee with the dice run. There is a fee with the motorcycle show as well. And then if nothing else, if you just come out there and walk around, you're going to love the smell because it's going to be
that is competition
showtime.
Day. Yes.
It is showtime and competition time with those grill teams, those cook teams. and one thing that we could go into a lot of depth explaining, but we won't. But with the Georgia Barbecue Association,
Right.
it is an honor if you have a barbecue competition in your town to begin with, then GBA is associated with it. And GBA, however, does oversee our barbecue portion. We follow their guidelines and their rules. Now, what's a big honor in a community is when you get called a 2-point town or a 2-point city. That's where, or a double points. The double
contest.
points. Not 2 points, but the double points. And this year, Douglas, we were fortunate to be called the double point competition location, or one of them. So that's one of the reasons why we've got a lot of the teams coming out this year to compete, because that's serious when you're double those points.
Double points for Team of the Year.
That's serious. That is very serious.
And we're also right now currently the largest GBA payout.
Right.
See, our grand prize winner wins $5,000.
That's a chunk of change. But yes, all of this will be happening on the weekend of September the 7th and 8th. That is the weekend after Labor Day weekend. That's going to be at the Douglas Municipal Gene Chambers Airport, located off of 441.
One more quick thing I want to tell everybody about. We will have the snake and
Yes.
reptile wagon back again. And now he will only be here on Saturday, but Jason Clark did a really good job last year, and he is coming back again this year, and he will have a show that's free at 11 a.m. and 2 p.m. And then also his reptile wagon will be on display for everyone to go through and see all the snakes and turtles and little creatures that you can find out in the wilderness.
I will not be in line, so you don't have to worry about that.
But yeah, we do. We invite everybody to come out
Yes.
and to the festival this year. And again, it's Friday, September the 7th, and Saturday, September the 8th. On Friday, activities start at 1 p.m. and we look at the concert lasting until about 10 p.m. And then on Saturday, activities will begin at 9 a.m. and we look at probably announcing the winners to the barbecue contest at 4, and then probably at 5 p.m. most folks will be getting ready to pack up and head on
Yep.
out. I know I'll be tired and packing up.
Yes, absolutely.
Real quick before I wrap it up, I do want to, quickly give a shout out to our sponsors, because without them, we really could not do the
Absolutely.
barbecue festival each year. We've got Landcore Engineering, Country Style Ribs. Woo! You better get there and get some
Chicken on a
food.
stick, that's all I'm going to say.
McRae Coca-Cola, Broadcast South, Perry Brothers Aviation Fuels, WALB came in as a sponsor this year. More Than Graphics, Southern Eagle, Napa and Brooks Auto Parts are our sponsor for the car show, and the Helping Hands Bikers LLC, they are our sponsors for the motorcycle events. The Douglas Lion Club, Douglas National Bank, ESG Operations, the National Barbecue News, On Media, South Georgia Shopper, and the Barbecue Times. We just want to give a shout out to all of y'all, and if you see any of these folks around, make sure you
Yes.
give them a big thank you.
It takes a village.
It does. It really does. Well, thank you, Patty, for
Thank
being
you.
here, and everybody didn't have to just sit here and listen to me talk about it, I'm sure. But thank you again for coming, and we will see y'all at the airport on September 7th and the 8th, and we'll be right back after this.
Don't miss the South Georgia Barbecue and Outdoor Festival in Douglas, September 7th and 8th. Douglas Barbecue Competition with $20,000 in cash and prize giveaways. There will be plenty of general and food vendors, arts and crafts, hunting and fishing vendors, and a kids area. Dice Run Motorcycle Show with a finale 50-50 draw and car show. Free Friday night concert with headliner Cason Lane. Aviation events, snake and wildlife encounters, and more. This show is brought to you by these great partners. We hope to see you there.
Hi, we're back with a special segment of the Douglas on My Mind show. Today I have with me our City Commissioner, Cindy McNeil, and she is the City Commissioner for Ward 5. Thank you for being here, Commissioner McNeil.
Thank you for having me.
What I've been doing with these little special segments each time is I talk to the commissioners or the mayor and just kind of, ask y'all for an update, and so the citizens can get to know you a little better. What I would like to start off with is just, tell us about you. Tell us about your family and how long you've been in Douglas and things like that.
It's hard to believe that everybody doesn't already know me or
Right.
know about me, because my life's just kind of been an open book here. I'm 59 years old and have lived here for my entire life. So,
Wow.
married a gentleman from Douglas also. Both of our boys were born here. We have 2 sons. My husband is Brian McNeil. We had 2 sons, Austin and Brett. Austin is in business with us here in Douglas, and Brett is an attorney in Valdosta.
Oh, wow.
Married with our first grandbaby. So I became a grandmother this year. That was very exciting. Yeah.
It's a new role.
It's a new role. That's right. Wearing a new hat here. But as I mentioned, we are business owners here in the community, so folks know us a lot of times from that. But it's still amazing how many people come in and say, "Where do I know you from?"
Right.
And that's their question to me. They look at me and say, "I know you from somewhere," and I just have to start guessing. I've worked in the medical community
Right.
as practice manager for 4 doctors here. Well-established, physicians, Dr. Nair, Dr. Harper, Dr. Nett, and Dr. Tanner. So loved my time there. Also worked part-time at City Hall, if you remember, a few
Right.
years there with Terrell Jacobs. So I got a real good feel for city government during that time, Blondell. Got to know all of you.
Yes.
And then came back, you might say, to haunt y'all later as commissioner.
Right.
No, actually, I replaced Commissioner Ronnie Anderson from Ward 5.
Right.
And Commissioner Anderson's done a great job and everything. And I've gotten to know him over the years. And, I think one thing that I saw a need for was, I'm not so much about females in government or female leadership or anything like that. It doesn't matter, male, female, the role. But I do think that what I lend here is as a female, I like to encourage quality of life
Right.
things within the community. I had said when I ran, though I ran unopposed and didn't really have to do a campaign as such.
Right.
My goal was when I leave, when and if I ever, retire as commissioner.
Right.
However long that stay may be, however long I may be blessed to do this, I want to make Douglas and Coffee County the kind of place that my children would want to come back to.
Right.
Okay, so those of us in my age group who have children going away to college, Brian and I were empty nesters for many years. I've always attended Valdosta State, and then Brett went on to Atlanta. And, I realize Douglas doesn't offer everything that the big city does.
Right.
Or that big cities do. But we also are without some of the challenges that big cities offer them too as young people. So I like the fact that I have a son as close as Valdosta. I like the fact that I have a son still here. I get constant feedback
Right.
from the two of them about my role and about what we can do to make Douglas and Coffee County better.
Yeah.
From their point of view. So I enjoy that.
Yeah.
And as I mentioned, being in business here, my husband and I own a business called Storage Solutions.
Yes.
And we sell carports and portable storage buildings and all kinds of things. So I'm in the community, in the city a lot, in the county a lot. I deal with code enforcement. I deal with code restrictions. I deal
Right.
with citizens who
You deal with the same thing
Yes,
citizens deal
exactly,
with.
Exactly.
Right.
So I know that, and I also deal with the same issues that our business owners do.
Right.
So I bring a lot to the table there as a business owner. Our other business is a new business called Mosquito Squad here in Douglas, a new franchise, and it's actually owned by our son. He came back here to help start that. It's done very, very well. But again, the fact that he's a young business leader in the community, members of the chamber, we see the role and the responsibility that these people have, and how important it is to work with them, with their
Right.
utilities, with their, whatever their needs may be.
Right.
So, but yeah, and I know probably folks aren't, they've seen my picture somewhere.
Right.
I say, where have I seen you? Not a mug shot, but I say to them a lot of times, my picture's in City Hall.
Right.
So it could have been something that minimal, that you saw me there. But it could also be in my other role. I was a banker for 20 years
Yes.
in Douglas, and I know an awful lot of people from my banking days. So,
Okay, well, this is your first term.
Yes.
So tell us something about what have you seen in your time in office that has actually come in and you think is going to be a large improvement for the city and for citizens?
Well, I just see fresh ideas. I see new blood. I see people now who I think, I kind of, my family laughs because they say I always see the glass half full.
Yeah.
I
Positive.
am not, I am the positive. I can find the good in everything. So, but it's good and it's refreshing. I have some people, we have some commissioners who have been there, who are seasoned, as I say, and who have seen the glass not half full, and who have overcome some challenges and some obstacles. The mayor, as many of you know, will, this year, our decision to stagger terms, I think that was one of your questions maybe before, or something we were going to discuss. What we were afraid of is this year, for example, we had so many new commissioners come on board. If you think about the wards that all had new commissioners, you could potentially have a clean slate where there's no balance of old and new.
Nobody would know what was going on.
Right.
Yeah.
There's so much to be said for again, people like me with fresh ideas, but also people who anchor us with the, with the traditions.
Right.
With the things that we do this because we've already tried, maybe, the way I would mention or something.
Right.
Things I might suggest, they're quick to say. And even the mayor, in his additional term here, having been on board before, he brings a world of knowledge and experience and tried and true, or mistakes we don't need to make again.
Right, right.
So the citizens have the benefit of that.
Yes. Well, here's the tough question. What challenges have you faced?
Well, again, Blondell, I was blessed to work with Winetta as deputy clerk, and I have gone about the education, the certification, getting to know people in other communities.
Right.
And again, you're going to think I'm just saying this, but our community is so much better off than so many others. And I think if we could just get citizens to see that. Every city has challenges with utilities.
Right.
You don't have 100-degree weather like we've had it and not have high utility bills.
Right.
You don't have, anytime you have the mix of backgrounds of commissioners, we're not always going to agree.
Right.
The mayor has jokingly referred to us as the Magnificent Seven, and we've taken on that role. And I've asked him to be a little careful because he can be overly optimistic too. But we want to live up to that. And so far, I know we've had a few glitches, even a few recently.
Right.
But those I look at as opportunities.
Yes.
And they have opened some doors for improvement. And things that I hope to see really come about. We've got some great things going on here. I was just trying to think, I mentioned to you earlier about property in Douglas. There's so many unused properties and unused or unfulfilled opportunities with dilapidated or structures that are no longer fit to use.
Right.
And the Land Bank Authority is going to be a wonderful tool. So I want all of you to listen out for that and be dialed in when you hear the term Land Bank Authority, because I think that is going to provide with some opportunities for income and some ways to use things in Douglas that have not been put to the best use.
Right.
So
right.
I look forward to putting that team together or working with that team.
Correct.
We've got some good folks, and we're learning from other communities who already have it in place. So I'd rather learn from other people than the School of Hard Knocks.
Oh, yes.
And so we're trying to do that and visit with them.
And of course, that's a process. I mean,
It
all of
is.
this is not going to take place
That's
overnight.
right.
And
That's right.
I know it's hard to ask citizens to be patient sometimes, but you know, it does,
Yeah.
patience does pay off in the end, because I have seen some areas that were, the structures were basically falling down,
Mm-hmm.
but I have seen some cleanup around Douglas. It may not be in everybody's neighborhood, but I've seen it in different areas in Douglas.
Well, and that's what I would really like to encourage people to do
Mm-hmm.
right now. You know, I know we've had a lot of rain, we've had a lot
Mm-hmm.
of hot weather and stuff, and it is not fun to get outside and work in your yard right now. There's
Right.
nothing pleasant about it. But if you were a tourist, if you were driving through Douglas, and I try to put myself in other people's shoes and come in here, again, I have a tendency to always be optimistic, but I try to look at it like other people might see us for the first time.
Right.
And we can get used to something being, oh, well, that's always going to be that way, or that's always going to look like that, or,
Right.
Don't do that. I challenge people to see and say, what can I do better? What can we do better?
Yes.
How can we help? We've had the see something, say something. Everybody's heard that slogan
Yes.
before. And but if there's things we can improve, call City Hall. I can be reached through there. Again, at any of my either of the two businesses, folks call me all the time with ideas and with challenges, or with things we can improve.
Right.
So safety, I'm all about safety too for for the citizens, for elderly people, in Douglas. And transportation, I know in our medical community has been a challenge for people
yes.
to get back and forth to their doctor's appointments and stuff. So, again, my kids would say, well, just have Uber.
Right.
I just need to start an Uber franchise.
That's it. Somebody
But-
needs to start up that Uber.
yeah,
Yep.
sure. So, that's what I say. That's the difference in their age and our age, as far as we've got to look at, what we can do that would, be a win-win.
Right,
For the
right.
community, for potentially a business owner, to make money and stuff. Blondell, I think one of the other challenges we see here now is, our small business owners in Douglas and Coffee County are going through the same thing that every small business owner is going through. I hear so many times how people like to order online. They
Yes.
like the convenience of ordering online. But again, I say to you, as a city and as folks who love your community, go in those retail stores.
Shop local.
Shop local. Go in there, and we patronize our local restaurants, and we do things like that, and it just means a lot.
It helps to
really
build the
does.
community.
It
I know we've
does.
got a lot of projects coming up. Are there any other updates you'd like to provide the citizens with, or would you like to, maybe let them know how to contact you if they have some ideas that you might need?
Well, as I said, most everybody, you'd be surprised how many phone calls my husband gets. Because he's fairly visible too. Now, of course, he's working in Waycross now, so he's not here every day. But again, if City Hall is always a good place to start, and make a call there, because a lot of times, even when you and I get together, as a citizen, we have to circle back around to City Hall, be it through customer service or whatever.
Right.
So I would say start there if you can. If I can help you, though, again, I can be reached out at Storage Solutions, at Mosquito Squad, any of those businesses.
Okay.
And I'd love to work with everybody. I appreciate the citizens of Ward 5. We have a great group of folks, and they have some neighborhood watch programs that I love. The fact that they're taking care of each other, and I
Right.
don't mean just for lost dogs.
Yes.
They're looking out for each other. And the things that we want to have is, again, safety. We want to be sure that our things are that we don't have vandalism, and that we don't have things like that in our neighborhoods.
Correct.
So, but if, again, if I can be of help to anybody.
Yep. Just one call to City Hall.
That's right. That's
All right. Well, Commissioner McNeil, I appreciate you
Thank
stopping
you.
by,
Thank
and I'm
you
sure
so
everyone
much.
will enjoy it.
Enjoyed it very much.
Thank you all for joining us for this special segment of Douglas on My Mind.